With the House and the Senate deadlocked over the budget, the governor has slashed funding for state schools by 4.5%. We're taking a look at what that means for the University of Kentucky coming up.
Donald Trump is trying to refocus after a week of distractions from his campaigning as things heat up between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. I'm Weijia Jiang at the White House with the latest coming up.
Live sky camera, gorgeous afternoon in store. Feels really good today, but that cold air rushes in this weekend. The hard freeze is what we're going to be watching for. Green thumb alert with this one. I'll have that coming up.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Good afternoon to you. So good to have you on WKYT for the new news. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. After the Democratic-controlled House and the Republican-run Senate reached an impasse in their budget talks and were unable to pass a compromise, Governor Matt Bevin decided to take matters into his own hands.
Using an executive order, the governor has ordered immediate funding cuts to all state colleges and universities. WKYT's Mark Barber is live on the UK campus as the reaction continues to come in, and that is our top story at noon. Mark?
Good afternoon, Bill. While the school leaders here at UK still do not know how they're going to make up for the 4.5% cut in spending, they say they do know that students and staff will not suffer. They say for now they are not furloughing any employees and they are not hiking the tuition rates. Governor Matt Bevin cut spending to all state universities and colleges by 4.5%. when the House and the Senate got stuck in a stalemate over the budget yesterday. The Republican majority Senate wants the cuts so the state can start paying off billions in pension debt. The Democrat-held House, however, is trying to scrap the cuts because they think they will only hurt our schools. Eastern Kentucky University's president says their school is losing more than $3 million under the steep cuts. He says they will offset the loss by digging into their reserves. Morehead State University is mandating a 5-day furlough for their employees. And at UK, school leaders are still trying to figure out how they will manage their cuts. Some students are concerned that the school will lose valuable programs, while others welcome the cuts because they think there is wasteful spending here.
I have a professor who goes frequently to Europe or the Middle East for research projects, but what are they really discussing at these philosophy conventions? Nothing useful, I'm sure.
Research into Kentucky folk traditions, into Kentucky music, into Kentucky writing is something that really isn't done anywhere else and is something that could really be lost.
Many here on campus are concerned that there could be tuition hikes if the spending cuts that the governor is proposing for the next 2 fiscal years are passed in this budget cycle. Now, those spending cuts would require that 9% would be taken out of the funding for state schools. So again, there are a lot of concerns here on campus that could lead to tuition hikes here. When I was speaking with university officials earlier this morning, they said what happens here on campus, well, that's just up to lawmakers and what they decide in Frankfurt over the next few days. That's the latest here in Lexington. I'm Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, we thank you very much. And this has just come in as this continues to develop. Governor Matt Bevin just issuing a statement saying that he appreciates the university presidents who are willing to help solve the budget problems that the state is facing. You can find his full statement and responses from some other university leaders on WKYT.com. With the legislative session winding down now, if a budget agreement is not reached by April 12th, the governor will have to call a special session to avoid a state government shutdown. The cost of that to taxpayers would be roughly $70,000 a day. You can stay up to date on the latest budget talks in Frankfurt and what's happening over there at WKYT.com or download our WKYT News app.
Well, the leftover rain has pushed out of the bluegrass this midday, making for a pleasant afternoon here. But a weekend chill is looming. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center now with a look ahead. Micah.
Yeah, the front moved through, and boy, is it nice outside. We are in the upper 50s, lower 60s already. We're going to be there in the low to mid 60s later on this afternoon, and this is going to be your look. Now, you will have a few more clouds filter in, especially along that 64 corridor and northbound, but still, I mean, we're talking about maybe a sprinkle at best for northern Kentucky. Other than that, we stay dry. Look at that, 60 degrees now in Lexington, lower 60s elsewhere. Really nice conditions in store today, but the weekend, yeah, the temperatures drop off, maybe a hard freeze in store, and I'll have that coming up.
Central Kentucky was largely spared from the latest storm system, but severe weather did cause damage in some parts of the state. The National Weather Service is in Breckinridge County this midday, southwest of Louisville, to determine if a tornado hit or if it was straight line winds instead. Part of the roof of Breckinridge Middle School blew off during the storms. Students were inside at the time, but no one was hurt. A nearby mobile home park was also damaged. First responders say 2 people were injured there. And that severe weather system that hit the bluegrass was much worse in the south. Forecasters say there's a tornado watch in Georgia a day after funnel clouds touched down in Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Twisters were confirmed in the central and northern parts of Alabama. The National Weather Service also says 2 tornadoes touched down in southeastern Louisiana, bringing down trees and power lines there. So far, there are no reports of injuries.
Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump is facing a lawsuit here in Kentucky. 3 people who attended Trump's rally in Louisville last month have filed a civil suit against him. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy is in our newsroom now with more on their claims. Kristen?
The 3 people say Trump supporters assaulted them during a rally in Louisville in March. One of the 3 is a 21-year-old University of Louisville student.
Get out!
She is the student you see there. Attendance at the rally pushed her out of the venue. WDRB-TV in Louisville says the lawsuit accuses 2 people of assaulting the 3 protesters. It also states Trump incited the riot at his rally by repeatedly calling for the protesters to be removed. All 3 of the complainants in the lawsuit filed criminal complaints with Louisville police. Police have not made any arrests. The suit says the GOP frontrunner acted with gross negligence and failed to provide proper security. 3 complainants want to be compensated for physical injuries and emotional distress. In the newsroom, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Kristen, thank you. The lawsuit mentions several other Trump rallies resulting in violence, one in Las Vegas, Nevada, and another in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Meanwhile, we have this story.
Tension on both sides of the presidential race is becoming much stronger after months of campaigning. Weijia Jiang is at the White House with how Republican and Democratic candidates are showing signs of wearing on each other.
Donald Trump left RNC headquarters Thursday with a wave and a thumbs up.
Well, it was a very good meeting. I think they wanted to really discuss, unity, and I like discussing unity, too.
Trump announced this week he would no longer honor a pledge to support the Republican presidential nominee.
They're not going to get the data and the tools of the RNC and run to be our nominee and tell me that they're not going to support the party. It doesn't work that way.
Trump's chances of getting enough delegates to win before the convention could be in jeopardy if he loses in Wisconsin next week. He's down by 10 points in the latest polls.
Tensions are growing in the Democratic race, too, after a Greenpeace protester confronted Hillary Clinton at a rally on Thursday.
I'm so sick. I am so sick of the Sanders campaign lying about me. I'm sick of it.
The Bernie Sanders campaign accuses Clinton of taking money from the fossil fuel industry. Clinton claims she just has donors who happen to work for those companies.
If you take substantial sums of money, we're talking about millions of dollars, from paid lobbyists of the industry, are you going to be inclined to be as aggressive as you should be?
An estimated 15,000 people showed up in the Bronx Thursday night to hear Sanders speak. Both Democratic candidates have strong roots in New York, where 247 delegates are at stake. Clinton has a 12-point lead there. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
But Bernie Sanders is leading the latest polls in Wisconsin, which is the next state to vote. That state's primary is next Tuesday.
U.S. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky pulled an April Fool's prank today through his official Twitter account. Senator Paul also claimed to be making a, quote, major endorsement announcement that would be huge, a term that frontrunner Donald Trump often uses. He later tweeted that he was just celebrating April Fools with hashtag endorstropy. Senator Paul dropped out of the presidential race earlier this year. He has yet to endorse any of the remaining candidates. We have a traffic alert to pass along here at midday for you.
The westbound off-ramp of the Mountain Parkway at exit 22 in Powell County will be closed until 3 o'clock this afternoon. The closure is so that crews can resurface the ramps. Traffic will have to take exit 18 in Clay City and get back on the parkway at exit 33 in Slade. Now you can use Kentucky 11 or Kentucky 15 to get to Stanton. A longtime Lexington health official has lost his battle with cancer. The Fayette County Health Department says Dr. Rice Leach passed away this morning. Dr. Leach has served as Lexington's Commissioner of Health since 2011, but his career in health goes back 50 years. Just 2 weeks ago, the city presented him with the Lexington Public Health Hero Award. Lexington Mayor Jim Gray called Leach, quote, a great man in every way, compassionate, committed, determined. Dr. Rice Leach was 75 years old. That's one of my interviews I did with him many times over the years. Always very forthright, very direct with what he said, and a lot of fun as well. Dr. Rice Leach is going to be missed. Coming up, March was another strong month for the U.S. labor market, adding more jobs than experts predicted. We'll take a look at the encouraging numbers and its impact on the markets. Coming up on Kentucky's #1 Midday News. Also ahead, Cirque du Soleil is not doing flips over one of Justin Timberlake's songs. Find out why the theatrical company is suing the pop superstar. Next on WKYT. Welcome back to WKYT News at noon. The U.S. economy notched another solid month of hiring. Employers added 215,000 jobs last month, extending the longest streak of private sector job growth on record. The improvement was driven by large gains in construction as well as retail and healthcare industry. Despite the jump, wages only grew 2.3% compared to this time last year, and unemployment actually ticked up to 5%. Due to more people looking for work. The employment report is having a positive effect on the markets here at midday. The Dow Jones is up about 38 points, the NASDAQ is up 19, and the S&P 500 up 2. Stocks are expected to post highs for the week. It's the last day of President Obama's fourth and final nuclear security summit going on in our nation's capital. The president launched the initiative 6 years ago with the hopes of creating a world free of nuclear weapons. More than 50 governments and international organizations are in D.C. for the two-day meeting. Today's session is focusing on preventing the Islamic State group and other extremists from obtaining nuclear materials and attacking urban areas. Well, the Clooneys are continuing their crusade for human rights. Kentucky native George Clooney is set to present a $1 million humanitarian prize in the fight against genocide. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Clooney and his wife Amal will travel to Armenia this month to award the Aurora Prize for Awakening Humanity. The winner will receive $100,000 and then choose a humanitarian organization to receive a $1 million grant. The prize is one of several projects the Clooneys are involved in aimed at improving the world. Justin Timberlake is in a legal battle with Cirque du Soleil. The theatrical production company has sued the pop singer for what it claims is illegal use of one of its original songs. The theatrical production company says a song from its show Quit 'Em is sampled in Timberlake's Don't Hold the Wall track from his 2013 album The 2020 Experience. The suit is seeking $800,000 in damages. Now, this is not the first time Timberlake has been accused of copyright infringement. He was sued twice by other parties earlier this year. Investigators are trying to figure out the motive behind the deadly shooting of a police officer during a training exercise in Richmond, Virginia. We'll have the latest coming up in a report on WKYT News at 12:30.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Such a good looking rest of the day. I know we have a few clouds filtering on in for the northern zones here within the next few hours, but just don't expect much out of that. We could get a passing light shower or sprinkle, but that's it. So virtually all of us stay dry the rest of the afternoon. Live Sky Camera, if you're planning on going out, doing some errands, heading out to eat later on this evening, you got the green light. It's just a really good day, and so are temperatures finishing off in the mid-60s. Right now, we're in the low 60s for virtually everybody. Very popular number, 61 degrees, and that takes up most of our region, most of the map. that you're looking at right now with current temperatures. 60 degrees now in Frankfurt. And like I said, we finish off in the mid-60s. A lot of sunshine, and then we head off into the evening, upper 50s, lower 60s. The winds will be cranking up, too, later on this afternoon. So it's going to be a breezy, mild day, and then we slide off through the night into tomorrow morning, right around 36. That's getting close to that pivotal point that we look for some frost, as those ground temperatures will be even a little bit colder than that. So tomorrow morning is not actually the coldest spot we have on the 7-day forecast. It's not even close. We get into your weekend, watch this, okay? So Saturday morning, mid to upper 30s. We get into the afternoon right around 53 degrees. That's cool, but that's not exactly that cold. Then we hit overnight and into Sunday morning, and check that out. On Sunday, a hard freeze is possible, okay? So not everybody will see that. But in some patchy spots, we're talking about a hard freeze, upper 20s, lower 30s, and then we'll finish off right around 50 degrees during the afternoon on Sunday. So it's well below average for both the highs and the lows on Saturday and Sunday. If you're looking for dry conditions, when can I get outside without getting hit by any rain? I believe most of your weekend you can do that. But if there is a slight chance of rain, it's going to be northbound in the northern areas on Saturday, so north of I-64. It won't be anything like what we saw yesterday, but just a passing light shower, that's it. Alex Nail sent this one in. She said, whoa, look at that sky. And that's pretty cool right there. Those are what we call mammatus clouds. Really neat when you get some severe weather, strong storms moving on through. Sometimes you get mammatus clouds, and they're so cool. And then another thing that I got probably 25 to 30 pictures of this off of Facebook. And this is my Twitter account, Micah Harris WX, but double rainbow that a lot of people saw. That's from Stacy Rust. Let's check out your 7-day forecast, what you can expect. Remember, the weekend's much cooler, and that hard freeze, heads up, green thumbs. That's what you're going to be expecting there on Sunday morning. Not just Sunday morning, but there's 3 shots at that throughout your 7-day forecast. So it's up and down next week.
All right. Hang on for the ride. Thank you, Micah. We'll be back in a moment on WKYT News. The takeaway after seeing 4 new Cal recruits in action.
And the football Cats are adjusting to another new offensive attack. Dave Baker's next with sports.
There used to be a time not all that long ago when a guy came to play basketball at Kentucky as a freshman. He was pretty much a cinch to be great right away. Maybe that's why there was so much interest in the Final Four, in the 4 Cats playing in Wednesday's McDonald's All-American game. And without a doubt, the most impressive member of that foursome, big man Bam Adebayo, who had 16 points and a dozen boards.
I think I did well. I mean, I'm a competitor, so I'm going to compete regardless of who's in front of me or who's the name. I mean, it's a great honor. I mean, I just play hard, so I didn't worry about stats. I just wanted to play hard and just go show people I'm made of.
And what does the future hold for the Wildcats, who are already here? We'll find out in about 90 minutes. Kentucky basketball is having what they're calling a special announcement today. No word on what that is. But I will tell you that Calipari is out in Houston at the Final Four, so it's nothing that involves him. I'm going to guess somebody's going pro and not coming back. We will stream it live for you. You can find out when we do on WKYT.com at 2 from Memorial Coliseum. Well, there's a lot to work on in this, perhaps Mark Stoops' most crucial spring practice since coming to Kentucky. First and foremost, the offense. And new coordinator Eddie Grant is not a happy camper. He likes the effort, but in terms of consistency, execution, things like that, there's a long way to go and a short time to get there.
They're giving great effort. They're competing. They're having fun. But now it becomes just the mental part of it. It's all in now. You know, we didn't install anything today, so there's no more excuses. You know, game's over. It's time for you to learn it, and it's time for you now to, this is where your technique takes place. And if you want to win outside as a receiver up front, now it's all about technique. Perfect steps, know where to go, and do it fast.
And Bill, do you remember all the grief Steve Harvey got for that Miss Universe deal? Well, how about this? On Selection Sunday, the NCAA sent a text to South Carolina to make travel arrangements and said it would call right back. That return call never came. That's because the Gamecocks didn't make the NCAA tournament. The NCAA has admitted the foul-up. Vice President Dan Gavitt released a statement saying it happened, and he took full responsibility. A lot coming up this weekend. 12th-ranked Kentucky softball hosts number 3 Auburn tonight, first of a 3-game series in Morehead State and Nevada for the CBI basketball championship in Reno. Much more on that coming up a little bit later, guys, but that's a look at sports on this Friday. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too, and a lot to follow this weekend in sports. We appreciate it.
And there's much more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon.
The opening of the Kennedy Bridge has been delayed once again.
The attorney for the alleged ringleaders of Kentucky's largest bourbon heist was back in court today. We have the latest.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $135 million, and tomorrow night's Powerball jackpot is $50 million.